One of the really great things about the holiday season is that they tend to remind us to think a little bit about those less fortunate than ourselves. Bill Miller, Executive Director at Friends of the Homeless in Springfield, sat down with Carolee McGrath. They talked about the services offered and the tremendous need faced by so many in our community, especially in the cold weather months and around the holidays.
So Friends of the Homeless is the largest shelter for adult individuals in Western Mass, really outside of the city of Boston. So on any given night we can have up to 150 or more. We've gone as high in the wintertime as 190 people in shelter on a single night, both adult men and adult women. And then beyond that we have people in housing units, so they can start in shelter, but our goal is to help people move into housing. And so we manage some of that, and some of that is out in the community. So it's a busy place. We're open 24 hours a day, and so we have 3 meals a day and shelter, but we also have services for people. We have medical services, and we have support services to help them with the needs that bring them to the shelter so we can help them kind of move on quickly. So that's sort of the overview of who we are. People can range in age anywhere from 18 to well into their 70s. We hope not older than that, but of course we would take them at older ages. Sure. But so the elders kind of are a compelling group, but the another group that's sort of concerning is the 18 to 24-year-olds, the younger people, or under 30. That's about 15% of the people that we see.
And so what brings people there, especially at that age group? What's happened in their lives that has led them to that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And, we know that there are many kids who end up in foster care when they're kids. And, we appreciate the foster care system is very complex. But what happens when kids age out of that? That's what we would call it. You're 18. The state isn't responsible for you any longer. There are some programs to support kids to go on to college, but if we think about our own kids and how much support, they need after 18 and, in those early years, and how much support we might have needed. For kids who don't have that, they can end up with us.
And that's got to be so scary for them. If you're an 18-year-old who has just come out of foster care where you had at least a place to stay, you had, a place that you knew you could call home, to now be like, okay, you're on your own, and then end up with you. That's got to be incredibly frightening.
I think it's an awful lot of things. Yeah, it's frightening. I admire kids and the adults too who are sort of resilient and can bounce and roll with whatever comes. But, that's one way of looking at it. But the other way of looking at it is they're kind of so traumatized by what's occurred in their event that they've become a little numb to sort of anything.
Many people might have this perception that, we had talked about this on the phone a little bit, that if you talk about the homeless problem, you're thinking of somebody in a park or somebody that you might see on the side of the road. Right. That's just a small percentage of the people that you deal with? That is
a small percentage. So really, most of the people, if you came and served lunch, and many people do that, you're not going to, the people who come in line are not going to be people who you would think of as homeless. Certainly they're poor, and so they're going to appear that way, but you're right, they're not the bag lady of the 1980s, or the fully intoxicated older gentleman laying on a park bench or something. I mean, honestly, we love those people too, and right. we help those people too. There's a particular strategy for folks like that. But then you just have poor people who are so close to homelessness. We're not all a paycheck away. We don't even bother saying that anymore. But people who are poor to begin with and then have some additional difficulties on top of that can fall more easily into homelessness. This area has a lot of poverty, and so it has a lot of homelessness.
How has the opioid epidemic affected you, or just the drug problem in general?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, honestly, we've seen street-level drugs as an issue, for all time. And so it's something that we have a lot of experience with. We have a lot of staff who are people who are recovered from addiction, and so they you know, they can sometimes be the best people to work with people who have an addiction problem. But yeah, the proliferation of drugs is, I mean, it's scary at every level. We've gotten additional training. Everybody uses Narcan, which is this drug that brings people back to life
And so you have that.
who've overdosed. We have it on site. We've seen people whose lives have been saved. They are virtually dead, and they're sort of brought back to life, and you know, and have another chance to recover.
Tell us about some of those success stories.
We have a woman who still lives in one of our apartments, who works at Burger King. She's in her 40s. She was in our shelter. She takes 2 buses to get to work, and for, as you can imagine, a fairly low-paying job, but she is diligent. And when she was getting her apartment, it was very sweet. She had a coffee pot on layaway, if you can imagine that, and she's making payments.
And see, these are the things that you see day to day that are so emotional. Just as something that would seem small to somebody else is huge.
Right.
So Bill Miller from Friends of the Homeless, thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us what you do.
Thank you for having me.